So I'll be doing the Salem witch trials, Clergy, and it is by me. So the Great Awakening, it was during the second half of the 17th centuries, and rulers in the colonized land were restricted for people's desire to reform. So at the time, like a series of event was like spamming in decades and like came together and became a watershed moment in the American history. So the freedom, it was not a spectacle gain without the pain. So it came from like a disappointment of European elites finding that America is so different from what they knew from Europe. So they believed that the lands of Americans were plain, and the temperature was very bad, and everything was just going against them. So Colin Mather, he was born in February 12, 1663, into a family of a re-owned New England Puritan minister. So he started his education at Harvard whenever he was like 12 years old, and he felt like it was a life in the ministry after he received his MA at the age of 18, and he was forced to avoid joining the ministry in the decades of preaching in favor of pursuing the career of it as a doctor. And so he, for his first sermon in August of 1680, and by 1685, at the age he was 22, and had to be ordained, and which regarded as one of his most prominent Puritan minister of his day. It decided him to associate with the Salem witch trials in the 1690s, and Mather and some of his fellows believed that God performed a direct role in the founding of the colonies, and that the New World had once been the devil's realm. And Chris Mather, he was born June 21st, 1639, Dorchester, Massachusetts Bay. So he was enrolled in Harvard at age 12, and then he graduated with a bachelor's degrees at age 17. So his assault at Aristotelian logic, so which is known as a fundamental to the Harvard's curriculum, stunted the facility and nearly led to his dismissal. So he was commissioned in 1664 and was prominent Boston minister, which was by the time of Salem witch trials, and he became the first president of Harvard College, and he also led a commission to England to seek a new charter for the colony, and it was the first time a clergyman had served in a high-ranking civil role, and he was widely launched for his effort and increase of one of the few ministers who connected with physical contact to witchcraft, and he was flattery opposed such tests as recruiting the Lord's Prayer, swimming, or crying for a suspected witch. So John Hale, he was born June 3rd, 1636, in Charlestown, Massachusetts. During the Salem witch trials in 1692, he was a Puritan pastor in Beverly, Massachusetts. So in 1657, he graduated from Harvard College in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and he preached it around 1664 which is later known as Beverly. He was ordained as the first minister of the parish church on September 20, 1667, when the Clergy formally split from Salem. So to continue on, he was devoted Christian who despised witchcraft. So his logic thinking and intelligence kept him from succumbing to irrational fervor, and his arousal started the hysteria, but later he comes to regret about his action and that he tries to save the lives of those who are accused. So Samuel Parris, he was born in London, in England in 1653. He was the Puritan minister in Salem Village, Massachusetts, during the Salem witch trials. He was sent to Harvard University in Massachusetts to study, and his father died in 1673. So while he was still in college, he was like a 20-year-old, and Paris, he moved to an island after his graduation. He was to sell his family's plantation and tried to settle into Bridgetown. So the Salem Village Church was signed on November 19, 1689, and Samuel Parris became the Samuel's Village first ordained priest. So since Parris was a minister, he started out pretty smooth, but then he began to expose his convictions and characteristics, as a number of Salem villagers, including few church members, and were dispersed. So to continue on, he is a paranormal and power-hungry who is often strangely self-pity, and many of the town folks hated him. But Parris just focused on improving his standing in the community and doesn't care. So the summary of it was that it was a lot of conflict in the political division, and it was constantly changing ministers because many of them had a lot of things that made them, and so as they changed ministers, they started to lose population and power over 6 decades, and it was the witchcraft. It was a traditional religious. So Puritan's minister, on the other hand, were aware of it and didn't believe it's about ability, but then it was just a threat to their powers and their control. And it was just towards more of the higher classes. So yeah, thank you.